Welcome back to Scale Auto Guys Workbench. Today we're building this Monogram Corvette Z06. I got this a month or two ago over at Ollie's. This kit has 116 parts. It's part of the Dream Rides edition. So let's take a look at what comes in the box. Here's your body. It's pretty clean and crisp. There's no flash. I'm not detecting any body lines, but I know that they're there. They usually pop up once you put the primer on them, but I'm not really seeing any in the bare plastic here. So, yeah, that looks pretty good. Here's your chrome tree. Those wheels are like exceptionally shiny. Here's your first parts tree. Comes with your disc brakes for each wheel, the hood, fender inserts, and the next tree is your suspension and exhaust parts and your two-piece dash. On the next tree, your engine, transmission, and chassis. It's funny how the Corvettes are set up with the live axle. Well, live drive shaft to be more precise. And your transmission's in the back of the car instead of being attached directly to the back of the engine. That's kind of a weird engineering feat. Here's the rest of your engine parts and components. And here's your interior bucket and the seats, seat backs, door panels. And of course the red for your taillights, side markers, headlights, windshield, and clear glass. Here's your decal sheet. Now they give you decals for like your door panels, and I'm guessing that's for your seats. Kind of neat. Your dash gauges and some Corvette logos. And your direction sheet. So that looks pretty easy to understand. Nothing too confusing about that. And it even breaks down the parts listed by name. So that's kind of cool for, you know, the beginner modeler that maybe doesn't know much about the names of car parts. So that's it. That's all the parts that were in the box. Let's get started with this. Let's get over to the paint booth. Let's get some primer thrown down. Oh wait, there's a little swirl mark down there in that door. I hate when there's swirl marks in the plastic. They always show through, especially if you are going to use a metallic paint. For some reason the metallic migrates to those swirls. It's the strangest thing. Anyway, I'm not sure on what color I want to go with this. The box art depicts a red car. I'm not sure I'm on the red. I'll have to think about this, and well, we'll decide later. Okay, fellas, before we get over to the paint booth, I'm going to do some sub-assemblies, get the seats glued together, the engine parts glued together, and then we'll get over there and start spraying some primer. So let's get on it. are for the bottom of the dash. These are for the bottom of the doors, which you can see I painted. And these go on the seats. Pretty awesome. Now these go across the seats, so I'm going to have to be a little fancy on. Well, not really. I just need to cut them out. So if you're going to do your interior a little different than what I did, you can use these decals, these door decals, these under dash decals and seat decals, which I chose to paint. I opted for paint. So I can be using those. Now I keep a bottle of tap water on my bench just for these occasions. Yeah, I can go get a little bit of water out of the sink. It wouldn't take long to do, but I get into a building kind of frame of mind. I like to just stay on it. Okay, these say Z06 on them. I don't know if you can see that. So there's that. Now this obviously is for the dash. There's also, if I can get a hold of it here, a little cover that goes over the decal. So we're going to have to open this up as well. Okay. Now comes the not so much fun part for me. Sometimes you get this feeling like you need a third hand. So let me see if I can get that in there. It's hard to tell if I got this in all the way because everything is black. Decal's black. I painted it black, so see if I can get that to seat down in there. Honestly, you can't really see it in there. Now, I guess if you were going with a lighter color on your dash, this would have been better. But can't even hardly tell that there's a decal in there. All right. Now this is going to be a little fun. I think what I'll do, we'll set that aside for right now. Let that kind of dry a little. With this being a red seat, this red decal is not going to show up very well. I could have just went with a gel pen and gel penned that out, but I'm going to try the decal and see. Maybe it'll show up, but I am doubtful. I guess I should have put these on before I put the seats into the bucket. I like to take a paper towel sometimes when I'm doing decals and just touch it in the vicinity. And what that does, you're not disturbing the decal, but you're pulling all that extra water out of there, which will help the decal seat. So then after you do that, you take a Q-tip, or you can take the paper towel and just kind of press straight down. Don't, slide your fingers back and forth. You just need to press down. Pull it back. Let's see, do I need to? There we go. And then I can take my Q-tip. I can kind of roll it out. Help seal that down. So the decal almost blends in with the color of the seat. I mean, I guess that's all right. Let's try the other one. It is just slightly different in color, so that it does kind of show up. My desk is a mess today. Or should I say my workbench is a mess today. Because it really is a mess today. I've got 4 kits that I'm working on right now for future videos, I should say. And it's kind of hard to juggle them around on a little bit of space that I have. Again, just press down straight. Don't jiggle from side to side or up or down. Just, you want to get it in position and just press straight down on it. And what you're doing is you're squeezing all the water out from behind that decal. Paper towel is soaking it up. And then you can kind of come in here and do some kind of final adjustments. You're not going to be able to move it a whole bunch now that you've gotten all the liquid out from behind it, but you can move it just ever so slightly. And then take the Q-tip, roll over it, kind of push it down. There you go. Now let's get back to that dashboard. Set this aside for right now. Set that aside. Okay. That thing's hard to pick up. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little drop of my Mod Podge in there. I'm going to use a toothpick to do it, And I'm only going to need a little drop because that's not like a big window or anything like that that is going to require a little bit more glue. I got to go pick up another bottle of this. I'm almost out. Come on. Finally got it down there and it's clogged. It's the only drawback to this style of Mod Podge. That tip constantly clogs. So what I'm going to do is there we go. Like I said, I'm just going to put a little dot right there. Once that's dry, you're not going to see it. Just got to drop this in place. And there you go. You got your lens in there. Like I said, once that Mod Podge dries, it's going to dry clear. You're not going to see it. It does give it a nice little black dot down in there, though. Alright. Now this is going to be a little bit interesting. Now I was kind of trying to test fit this earlier. And I guess it kind of goes like that. It's not, it's kind of wonky. Hopefully I can get that together correctly. I'm going to have to take some of that paint off. So let's go like that. And maybe a little over here on the ends. And the nice thing about this is if I expose too much, I can always come back and touch it up with the brush real quick. Alright. I had a guy the other day. I was talking to him about I was over at the hobby shop where I'm doing where I entered a contest. And he was telling me, he basically told me how screwed up I was for using red tube glue. Well, that's kind of his opinion. And, you know, I'm not going to deny anybody their opinion, but I use this because this is what I'm used to using, and I see no problem with it. Many of you might disagree with me, and that's fine. That's your opinion. You're entitled to it. But I know what I like, and I know what I can do with this stuff. I'm not a big fan of super glues, and I have used them in the past. But I find that they set up a little too quickly for me, and I don't like my fingers stuck together. Okay, we're going to let that set. And we got to install the steering wheel yet. And a couple other little pieces. I'm sure this goes in here somewhere along in here, but I think the dash has got to go in first. But yeah, that's got to go in somewhere like in that area. It's your firewall. I have to put the brake master cylinder on there yet, and a couple other things. Yeah, there's little notches down in there, and there's tabs on the ends. Because that's where it goes. So let's let that set up a little bit. I got to get the rest of the parts that go with this together, and I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. I've got all the parts and pieces ready to go in. So gotta put that kind of like that. The dash will sit over the top of that. Gotta make sure you got all that stuff in. The last thing goes in is the dash. I've got everything pretty much prepped and ready to go. So we'll throw some glue at it, and we'll be ready to get this interior done. Oh, shoot. There was something I wanted to do. Gotta take that back out. Just wanted to highlight this with the gel pen. Not that you'll see it once it's completed, but I'll know it's there. Yeah, it looks like crap. Okay. Stick that back down in there before that glue sets. Now this one's going to be a little tricky to get down in there. I should probably use my tweezers. Anyway, back to the glue conversation. The gentleman that I was talking to told me that there was a lot of fillers in tube glue, and I'd like to think that some situations you'd like to have, you know, it would be desirable, I should say, to have fillers in your glue, especially nowadays with these kits from overseas that have gaps and other oddities in them. Seems to me like it would be desirable to have those fillers, but I don't know. I don't know the chemistry of this stuff. I know how it works, and I know how to use it. What's this side? One side's in, one side is not. There we go. Just got to make sure it comes through the little slots in the bottom there. That way there you know you got it fully seated. Alright, firewall's in. Awesome. Okay. And I got the master cylinder in there. Reposition that a little bit. Yeah, a lot of you may or may not know, I did enter a model contest at, I'm going to say, a local hobby shop. I want to say local hobby shop, but in my location, local hobby shop means a 50-mile drive. I did enter 5 different kits, all of them except for one, was built right here on the channel. And I figured I would give it a go. I've never entered a model contest before. I have no idea how I will do. Generally, I believe that there's a lot of guys out there that do stuff better than I do. And what I mean by that is people that, you know, go all out with the distributor wires and the, you know, brake lines and all that stuff. And that's great. You know, I love seeing that kind of stuff. But that's not what I'm into. I'm not into all of that. You know, I enjoy looking at it. I think it's cool. I don't have the patience for it. And so, because I don't have the patience for it, I don't do it. I'm just kind of test fitting this right now to see how it goes in there. Okay. I'm perfectly happy just doing box stock stuff, as you can tell by the content of my channel. And you know, it's fine. I'm sure that if I set my mind to it, I could do it, but I don't have the patience for it. Now I'm thinking the glue points are going to be these two holes and then on the center area. So that's where I'm going to apply my glue. I should clean the paint off of those first though. Doing this kind of stuff dulls the crap out of your blades. So I usually keep some old ones around just for that purpose. And so I'm not dulling good blades, because you always need a good blade when you're doing bare metal foil and the like. Let's see, how did I... Okay, I see where it goes. At first I wasn't sure how that, you know, where the notches and blocks and what have you were located. I hit this on this dash. I didn't really look at it, and it took me a second to figure that out. All right, here goes nothing. Now, I feel like I have to clamp this in place, and I don't think I can get my clamps on it. They're too wide, because this one side feels like it's going to pop out. So we'll just kind of put a little pressure on it. Okay, I'm going to have to weight that down. It's not wanting to stick. And well, maybe I can get the... Nope, can't get the clamp in there. All right, I'll be right back. All right, fellas. Sorry, I skipped ahead again. My camera died, and I just went ahead and I was working and didn't realize it had shut down, and I got a lot of stuff done. And then I come back, I was like, oh, I didn't record any of that. Well, anyway, I got the under hood painted. I wanted to do something with the symbol in that, and I still might. I'm we're not quite finished yet anyway. So I've got the interior completely done. I got the suspension completely done. And yeah, this was a little interesting because according to the direction sheet, it actually gave you, okay, do this one first, do that one second, do this one third. And when I got it all done, this piece here did not want to sit down on the blocks in the back, and I ended up having to trim a little bit. There's a little block that's on the opposite side of this here, and I had to trim that off and to get that to sit down properly, and it's still got a little bit of a gap back here. So, well, that's the best that's going to be. As far as the body goes, I got all of the trim around the hood that was covered up from when I had the hood taped on there painting. I got that all painted in. I also have the sun visors and the rear view mirror installed, and I went ahead and put silver in where all of the red marker lights are going to be, and from the front marker lights. Now doing some test fitting. Oh, before I get to that, I blacked in around the edges of the windows, and I need to clean the windows yet before I install them. I used just regular old, it's flat black paint. It's acrylic. The nice thing about using the acrylic is, now I have a pretty steady hand when it comes to painting, but sometimes I will kind of get a little jagged little blob of paint where it's not supposed to go. The nice thing about using that particular acrylic flat black paint is if you have a little glob where it's not supposed to go, you can take you've seen this knife 100 times. It's dull, but it's just enough of an edge that if you have a little bit of glob of paint on the glass where it's not supposed to be, you can very lightly scratch it off, and it doesn't leave any marks. And all the paint, you can just kind of line up everything, and when you're done, it looks good. And so I did the front and back windows. I've got the wheels all set to go. I got the little locking hubs glued onto the back of the wheels. Just got a few more little sub assemblies to do, upper and lower radiator hoses, the front air dam, the hood hinges, and this is like a lower, like a spoiler kind of a thing. That's got to be installed. And I got a few decals to put on, and then we're all set for the final. So let me get this all finished up. Oh, one more thing before I forget. I almost forgot. I wanted to show you guys this. If you're building this model now, I got this over at, I think it was Ollie's. So they're out there. You guys, some of you guys may even have one of these in your stash. The windshield looks like it just drops in like this, but it doesn't, because if you drop it in like that, it covers up your windshield wipers and everything. So it doesn't show this in the directions. What you have to do is come in from underneath and then pop it in place. So like I said, it doesn't show that in the direction sheet. It actually shows it dropping in from the top. That's not how it goes in. This is the correct way. So if you guys have any questions about that, now you know. Let me get this stuff finished up. I got to clean that glass too. It's got fingerprints galore on it. And I'll see you at the final. Welcome back to the final on this 2004 Chevrolet Corvette Z06 by Monogram. This kit was a part of a haul from my local Ollie's that was done a couple months ago. This kit was a pretty good builder, and everything went together really well except for the rear suspension. It was a little bit touchy. There were a few misfitting parts that had to be modified to fit correctly, and when I went to put the wheels on, those things fit really tight to the axles, so they won't spin. And that could be a good thing or a bad thing. I know a lot of guys don't like to have the wheels spin. Other guys do. Some guys don't care. I'm kind of the don't care. As for the rest of the car, the body fit down nice and tight over the chassis, so there was no gluing necessary there. Some steps of this, the instruction sheet were very helpful, and others not so much. Let's just say that they were just a little bit less than helpful. For instance, the window installation, as I mentioned in the video, the direction sheet showed it just dropping in from the top, and actually it kind of comes up from underneath and then kind of cantilevers over into the frame. The front air dam and spoiler, well, that says that it's supposed to be installed on step 6 prior to the body being installed on the chassis. It was kind of vague where that part went. There was no locating pins or grooves or notches or any sort of thing like that to tell you exactly where that attached to the bottom of the chassis there. So I decided to wait until I had the body in place to put that front air dam on the car. And it was a good thing I did, because it helped line up everything, and it was easy to, you know, figure out, okay, I need to apply my glue here and there to keep that air dam in place. And the curvature of the bottom side of that front bumper actually helped locate that front air dam. In the engine compartment, the brake master cylinder is just a little bit too big, I think. In my opinion, it is anyway. When I went to put the interior tub down onto the chassis, of course, you know, I had the engine installed on the chassis at that point. Well, there was some clearance issue between this valve cover here and that master cylinder, and I had to remove this valve cover, fit the interior tub to the chassis, you know, get it in the proper position. Then I was able to put that back on the engine, but it was kind of a tight fit to get it back down in place. So that's another little fiddly thing that you have to deal with. I went with the two-tone red and black interior. I thought that looked kind of good. It kind of offset the black of the car. And because I had the separate door panels and things like that, it was easier to detail paint and get it to look right. Now this car also has little inserts that go up here on the B pillar on the inside to kind of complete the look of the interior. You can't see them after the body's on, so theoretically you could probably go without them, but it is kind of cool having them in there. It kind of just gives a little bit of a filler there. The tires, those are directional tires, and they give you notes in the instruction sheet on how to put the wheels on the tires and get them in the right direction. So that, you know, kind of gives you a little bit more of a authentic look, if you will. Some of the decals, most of the decals were all from this Corvette. The license plate on the rear actually came off out of the 64 Pontiac kit that I had. And I thought those looked better than the plates that actually came with the car. So with the paint job, I don't know. Yeah, it's showing up in the camera. I wasn't sure if it would. It's gloss black Krylon with full spectrum dragonfly glaze over top of it, 2 coats, and 2 coats of clear over top of that. So it kind of gives it a little bit of a multi-faceted color shift, and it might show up better in the still photos. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I'm hoping it's you can see it and it looks good to you. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and click that thumbs up button. If you have any questions or comments, please write those in the comments section below, and I'll be happy to respond as soon as possible. Be sure to follow me on Facebook, and if you want more videos like this one, make sure to hit that subscribe button below. Thanks for watching Scale Auto Guy's Workbench, and I'll see you on the next build.